It looks like the offseason has finally started to pick up, and we got free agents signing left and right this past week. Josh Hader just signed with the Astros on a 5-year, $95 million deal. That is the largest free agent deal of any relief pitcher in baseball history. Now, I know Edwin Diaz signed a 5-year deal worth over $100 million, but technically it's a little bit less because he has a lot of deferrals in his contract. And can we talk about how good the back end of the Astros bullpen is right now? They already have Ryan Presley. They already have Brian Abreu. Ryan Presley has been closing. Abreu has filthy stuff, and I think he could be a closer. If you're playing the Astros and you're down in the 7th, it's going to be really tough to make a comeback when you got those 3 guys to go up against in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And it just shows me that the Astros are a little bit upset, just a tad bit upset that the Rangers, a division rival, beat them in the ALCS and also won the World Series. The Astros want to get back on top, and they want to show the Rangers that they're the true kings of the AL West. They're also trying to make it to their 8th ALCS in a row. That is just insane to me. And speaking of relievers, Hader is not the only one who signed a solid deal. Robert Stevenson from the Rays just signed a 3-year deal with the Angels. He started off in Pittsburgh last year, and he wasn't doing too hot with them. But then the Pirates traded him to the Rays, and he put up a 2.35 ERA with a 14.1 K rate and 38.1 innings pitched. That is a hell of a turnaround right there. And that's also not the only move that the Angels made this week. They brought back lefty reliever Matt Moore. If you remember correctly, Matt Moore was a part of all those players that the Angels dropped at the waiver deadline last year. After the Angels dropped into waivers, he was picked up by Cleveland. Cleveland dropped into waivers, and then he was picked up by Miami. So what a wild couple of months for Matt Moore, but overall he had a really good year, a 2.77 ERA through 48 2/3 innings. The Angels also brought back former power hitter Miguel Sano on a minor league deal. And I mean, he was a big power hitter for the Twins. He hit 30 home runs in 2019, 30 home runs in 2021. He hasn't played since 2022, a year where he only had 60 at-bats, and they were absolutely dreadful. I think he hit under 100 in those at-bats. Now, he is over 30, so I don't know how much of a turnaround is possible for him, but I'm excited to see how the story plays out. Now, going back to lefty relievers, the Pittsburgh Pirates just signed Aroldis Chapman to a 1-year deal worth $10.5 million, and I think that's a solid move for Pittsburgh. Chapman had a much better year last year leaving the Bronx, and I think he had his best K per 9 since 2020, I believe. And that's just so smart for Pittsburgh, and I think that's a super smart move for Pittsburgh. If they're not in contention by the trade deadline, just flip Chapman for a couple prospects, just like the Royals did last year. The Royals managed to flip him for Cole Reagans, who went nuts last year. Take a page out of the KC Royals playbook. The NL Central is wide open, but the Brewers are trying to keep it from opening too much. They just signed Rhys Hoskins to a 2-year, $34 million deal with an opt-out after 1 year. Oh, I hate it for Phillies fans because Rhys Hoskins was beloved in Philadelphia, and he didn't play at all last year with tearing his ACL, but before 2023, he was a great power hitter. With the Phillies, he has a career OPS of 846 and a career OPS plus of 125. He is a great power hitter when he's on the field, and I think it's so great that one of his last moments as a Philly was so electric. We're always going to remember the famous bat spike against Spencer Strider in the NLDS. As a Braves fan, it hurt me a little bit. It really did. The home run, not the bat spike. Bat spike was electric. I love that. So I hope to see him mash in Milwaukee. And speaking of power hitters, let's talk about Joey Gallo. When he hits the ball, it goes a really long way. The only problem is he doesn't hit it all that often. He strikes out a ton. He struck out a ton last year. I think his K rate was around 43%, if I believe. But he just signed with the Nats for a 1-year, $5 million deal. And I think that's a great place for him to get back to form. The Nats are not in a mode to compete right now, so if he wants to get at bats, he's gonna get him there. He's gonna play every day. He just hasn't been the same since Texas, and I hope a change of scenery like this is gonna do wonders for him. He's not gonna have any pressure in Washington. They're not expected to win. He can just go out and work on his game. And speaking of Texas, they just made a bullpen move of their own, signing David Robertson. They signed him to a 1-year deal in the $11 to $12 million range. Now, on the surface, last year for Robertson seemed like a tale of two seasons. He was great for the Mets with an ERA around 2, but then he got traded to the Marlins where he had an ERA about 5. But when you do a little bit of digging, his fit for both teams was around 3.5. So he performed very similarly for both teams. And I think that's a great signing for the Rangers. He's been around for a long time. Just having that experience in the bullpen just helps them out a ton. And we're going to stay out west, but in the NL this time. We're going to talk about Jocko Tober signing with the D-backs. He signed a 1-year deal with a mutual option for 2025. And last year he had 15 bombs for the Giants with a 764 OPS and 111 OPS plus. We all know about Jocko in the playoffs, as he's had some very big moments for the Dodgers and my Braves. And now the D-backs are hopeful he'll give them some big playoff moments next year. And maybe they get another division series against the Dodgers, who also made another move. They just got James Paxton on a 1-year deal. He's been battling injuries since 2020, but he threw 100 innings last year for the Red Sox. That for sure adds some depth to the rotation, and you can never have too much pitching, especially if he's back and he's healthier. Now they have Glass now, Yamamoto, Bobby Miller, Emmett Sheehan, Walker Buehler is coming back. Dustin May is somewhere in there. I'm not sure when he's coming back. So he's definitely going to be able to contribute if healthy, and if someone goes down or struggles, that's another added depth piece. Now, those are pretty much all the moves I wanted to cover today, but before we go, I just want to wish a congratulations to Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and Todd Helton for getting into the Hall of Fame. This is the first year on the ballot for Adrian Beltre and Joe Mauer. That is so sick. I loved watching both of those players growing up. And finally, Todd Helton is getting the recognition he deserves. He just mashed. I know it was Coors Field, but he just absolutely mashed. He is well deserving. And it just sucks to see Gary Sheffield fall off the ballot. He would absolutely get my vote. Over 500 home runs, he just mashed. He just mashed for so many teams. And hopefully someday soon we can get Billy Wagner and Andrew Jones in the Hall of Fame. Both those guys are Hall of Famers in my eye. Let me know in the comments what your favorite move of the past week or so has been. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you like this style of video. It's the first time I'm ever doing like a recap video, so constructive criticism is very well appreciated. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see future videos, and I hope we see some more moves next week. I'll see you all later. Peace.